NSA and the intelligence community in general is focused on getting intelligence wherever it can, by any means possible, that it believes on the grounds of sort of a self-certification that they serve the national interest. Originally, we saw that focus very narrowly tailored as foreign intelligence gathered overseas. Now, increasingly, we see that it's happening domestically.
This the man claiming responsibility for what is alleged to be one of the greatest national security leaks in American history. Edward Snowden, he revealed himself and his motivations in an interview posted online by the British newspaper The Guardian. He says he was previously employed as a CIA technician, but most recently he worked for NSA civilian contractor Booz Allen. Now, Snowden says he became increasingly concerned about the number of innocent Americans caught up in the NSA's data collection program, and he decided he was going to leak the classified documents.
Even if you're not doing anything wrong, you're being watched and recorded. I, sitting at my desk, certainly had the authorities to wiretap anyone, from you or your accountant to a federal judge to even the president if I had a personal email.
Now, we learned last week about the government's far-reaching surveillance programs. NSA's, they've been collecting information on foreigners overseas by monitoring their internet activity. Classified program, codenamed PRISM, it's capable of uncovering virtually anything an individual does on the internet. According to those leaked documents, the NSA, they can tap directly into the servers of the 9 big internet companies, extracting photos, emails, even video chats. And that's not all. Another agency program collects phone records on Americans. They know who you call, for how long, and from where. Government officials say Snowden, he was reckless, dangerous, and the Justice Department has already launched a criminal investigation. And joining the panel right now is Richard Brodsky, former New York State Assemblyman, Senior Fellow at Demos, Professor at NYU, and also Matthew Miraglia. He is the Director of the Corporate and Homeland Security Program at Mercy College, and he's also been a member of the New York State Counterterrorism Intelligence Task Force, and he currently teaches a class on, of all things, the Patriot Act. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to talk about Mr. Snowden a little bit later in the program, but let's clarify what the program does and doesn't do, because I think there's a lot of confusion. Where do you see the limits right now, Richard, of what the NSA can do, whether it be domestic or foreign?
Well, part of this is who you believe, and that's the first entry-level question. If you believe what's out in the press, the NSA programs have been data mining, which is aggregate data. No one's listening into your phone calls. If they find from the data they mine that you're doing something suspicious, they need a warrant. Now, no one has ever argued that the Fourth Amendment stops the government from listening in if you have a warrant. So if you listen to President Obama and the other explanations, this is no big deal. The problem here is the same kind of problem we had with the last discussion, which is that it brings back other echoes of other issues. Daniel Ellsberg, when he leaked the Pentagon Papers, committed a national good thing in the sense that policies that people were being lied to about were brought out into the public. That was a good thing. Is this a good thing? I don't know.
You know, it's a fascinating debate that I was talking to different people at different parts of the building in different age groups. And it seems to me people under 30 say, you know what, I post my life online, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Foursquare. I tell people where I am basically at every moment. They can track my whereabouts like anyone would want to. But anyway, that's beside the point. Then you talk to people a little bit older, people who can remember the Church Commission, people who can remember the enemies list. And they say, whoa, 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 time out here. I wanted America to change after 9/11, but I didn't give unchecked power with no checks and balances to any government, whether it's Bush or Obama. I didn't sign up for this. How much of a moving target is this? And is this based on technology, or is this based on agencies doing what I guess all agencies do, is to push the envelope as far as they can until somebody says stop?
It's an interesting topic to discuss, and it's been with our nation since its founding. Benjamin Franklin and Jefferson disagreed on privacy. This is from the framing of our country. This has been an issue when we broke from the tyranny of England. Here we are in the 21st century, and the excuse will be, well, we're in a post 9/11 world. We should just accept these things. but that's un-American. We are Americans, and we are a just nation. We are a republic, and we are a democratic republic. So we must debate these issues, and I'm glad that this was brought to the public forum. I'm glad we're discussing this, because the good news is it's being discussed. The bad news is we can never get lazy. We got to keep debating these issues, because we never want ultimate power to be in the hands of any one person or one government.
Okay. Then the hard part comes. You didn't make the distinction, Richard, between domestic and foreign. And then what if it's a little bit of both?
If it's
and
data mining, it's not a big deal. If it's listening into conversations, it's a big deal. If it's listening into conversations without a warrant, it's a huge deal. Yet no one seems to be able to accurately describe what's going on.
Well, here are the voices we've heard, and I grant you, we don't know everything yet. Doesn't matter Republican or Democrat. People sitting on the intelligence committees, whether it's Senator Feinstein, or whether it's Congressman Jones, Republican or Democrat, they say they're abiding by the letter of the law. Other members say, time out, nobody checked with me. I didn't know, where was the memo here? I didn't even know about the existence of the program.
That issues warrants for these kinds of things. Apparently they were issued. Apparently no one's listening in to conversations. They're data mining. If that's an accurate description, are you disturbed?
No.
If it's not an accurate description, we got much bigger problems. So this, again, like the last conversation, this is almost about what you bring to the table when you start discussing it. Well, if we can get to the facts, I don't think it will disturb as many people.
Well, it does disturb me as you first described it, because if it's a court, it's a secret court. It's not a court open to the public. There's not a court in the state of New York that you can't walk in and see what's happening there.
That's not true.
Very rarely you have sealed proceedings.
Very rarely.
Very rarely. And those are normally when you have children involved, circumstances such as that. This is a court where no one knows what's happening. We're told simply to trust the judges. We don't know that the government even adheres to the rulings of this FISA court.
Don't we, in a post 9/11 world, haven't we learned that there are some things that go bump in the night, that there are some things that you have to trust the NSA or the CIA or whatever the investigative bodies are, that they have to work under darkness and secrecy.
I don't think
you can't
so.
have complete transparency in an ongoing investigation.
Not necessarily complete transparency, but there ought to be a basis. So, for instance, if I go as an attorney now, I'm in private practice, and I'm looking for a server so I can keep all of my clients' information on the server. When I go to Apple, they tell me, oh, don't worry, put it in the cloud. Say, I don't put anything in the cloud. I refuse to put anything in the cloud because I don't believe that the cloud is secure. And now I guess apparently I'm correct, because what happens is, at the end of the day, on an eavesdropping warrant, the purpose of having that warrant is so you can use the data that you've mined. The difference here is that if the government's prosecuting my client and they have all of my personal correspondence with my client, I may never learn that they knew this. But it can still be used against us without my knowledge.
It's an interesting conjecture. You don't object to wiretapping, do you, if there's a warrant?
If there's a warrant in a wiretapping case, and even then I still will make a motion, I'll ask a judge to make sure that that warrant was based upon probable cause. There's no opportunity to do that here.
The Congress, the judiciary, and the executive are all part of the process of assuring that. It is different, but it is not as though the government's out there wildly looking at everybody's stuff, unless they're lying to us.
I don't know.
And if you want to make that case, which Dominic makes
but
twice
I think it's
a day,
a different issue that you can explain. It's a term
Notice I'm
I
not
learned over
taking
the
a
weekend. Trilateralization. Okay? I think part of this is technology is advanced. I saw somebody write this, and I'd courtesy them if I just remembered who, but after 9/11, you had a kid that was an undergrad at Harvard who started Facebook. Twitter was something we didn't even know about. And now we're at the point where literally by altitude they can figure out where you are. So not only what building you're in, but what floor you're in. And technology has morphed that if I got my cell phone on me, you can ping me where I am. If you want to follow me with my electronic thumbprint throughout the day, you can not only find out where I am, but also where I'm probably even going. Explain how, in a lot of senses, that's what this data mining does. It connects all the dots.
It can be very good. Technology is a double-edged sword. There's no doubt about it.
What is trilateralization?
Well, I'll give you an example. We have solved missing persons cases by triangulating a phone call and finding out which tower it was near and gone to that location and followed up on a case and been able to locate missing persons. This has been used in Amber Alerts, where someone is in the trunk of a car and they're being abducted, and they dial 911, and immediately satellites can pin down a location within a mile, sometimes even less, of a tower. And who knows the advanced technologies that our government has that it's not even on the market yet. It brings me back to my original point. We need to keep this in the public. We need transparency because we want the American people to understand this is there to protect us, but let's make sure the people using it are protecting us with it. The president was right on when he said, yeah, no judge is just going to allow people to spy on you. There needs to be a warrant. But you had mentioned as a prosecutor, well, to get a warrant, it takes a lot of probable cause to convince a judge to sign off on invading somebody's Fourth Amendment. Well, here's where the gray area is. What is the probable cause for these judges to issue?
A special court set up, court or special judge set up for these FISA things to expedite the processes, and they have lower thresholds than you as a prosecutor.
Well, but those judges are only told the information from one side. There's never anything that contests that information. You never have.
That's true for every warrant. There's no adversarial proceeding.
What will happen is if there's an arrest in Westchester County, if a local village court justice signs off on a search warrant, and it leads to a felony arrest, and later we make a motion and we ask for in-camera inspection of the grand jury minutes, and we make a motion to dismiss, we're asking another judge to go back to determine whether there was probable cause. Even with a confidential informant, we have a right to a Darden hearing where we can ask the judge to actually ask questions of this confidential informant. And every now and then, as in the case of Carlos Perez in the Bronx, you find out that confidential informant was lying. And now you find out you have people who've served 16 or 17 years in prison for a homicide.
You said that there is never an adversarial proceeding when the warrant is issued. What you said, and you're right, is that it can be reviewed.
I gotta keep this going after the break here. When we come back, I want to know about this guy Snowden, all right? At the table, do we think he's a hero, or do we think he's the opposite? When we come back, we'll have that conversation and more as to whether we've gone too far for the sake of security or it's just the reality in 21st century America. Stay with us.
You can't come forward against the world's most powerful intelligence agencies and be completely free from risk, because they're such powerful adversaries that no one can meaningfully oppose them. If they want to get you, they'll get you in time.